Hi everyone. I am late. I'm late for a very important date, and that's with you guys. Wait, that's Alice, not Jessica. So, as promised, I am coming live in full cosplay. I'm gonna have to take these gloves off because they're not touch screen sensitive, so I have to press really hard on the screen to do things. Hi. So we're gonna invite a couple of people. So while I do that, if anybody has a question or has not thought of a question yet, please think of one while we get some people in. I already have a couple of questions that have come through this evening. So just so people know, this is not a psychoanalysis live. You're just getting to know me, what I enjoy. I love cosplay, as you can tell. Tonight we chose Jessica Rabbit. So what do you guys think of little Jessie here? Right. So I'm hoping some of you have questions. They do not have to be mental health related. They do not have to be OCD related. This is just an opportunity for you guys to get to know me a little bit more. Oh gosh, so many people on my Facebook, it's unreal. Right, that's it for now. Hi Lauren, hi Paige. So we are cosplaying as Jessica Rabbit. These gloves are so annoying. Hi Kim. It was a rush job, by the way. We had issues before the live, so I gave myself about half an hour, I think, to actually get all this makeup done and find the outfit. I actually have a stash of cosplay outfits. What was your dream job growing up? I loved animals growing up. Absolutely adored them. I hate seeing them in pain. I think when I was growing up, hi Danny, hi Samantha, hi Pet. I've already said hi to Paige, hi Kim. So growing up, I absolutely adored animals, and back then the TV show RSPCA Rescue used to be on telly, and I remember getting really sad at seeing the level of cruelty towards animals. So at first I wanted to be a vet, but I knew when I saw the hi sweetie, when I saw the reaction that saying I wanted to be a vet that I got from my parent at the time, you know, that positive feedback that I wanted to be a vet, and then when they spoke to other people about it, you know, they were like, Becky's gonna go to college, she's gonna be a vet, she's gonna be the best vet ever. And I loved that. I loved feeling kind of important, so I stuck with that because I wanted to please my parent. And you'd be surprised how common that actually is, because it gave me that attention. It made me feel special, and I wanted to keep getting that, because unfortunately my childhood wasn't brilliant, so attention from me was like rocking horse shit. So I kept saying I wanted to be a vet because it got that response. However, that started to change, and I decided actually I wanted to be an RSPCA rescue worker. I wanted to be able to save animals from being mistreated, from cruelty, from abuse, that kind of stuff. And then I found out the requirements to become a rescue worker. I cannot swim. One of the requirements is being able to swim at least 50 metres, which I can kind of swim, but there's no way I could swim 50 metres. So I actually gave up on that. And then when I left school, I didn't actually do anything. It was quite turbulent. After leaving school, I had my own place. Well, I say I had my own place. I lived in a young person's hostel from the age of 16 up until the age of 18. I went to college. I did different courses. So it never... And then I had my son by 19. So it's not something I ever thought about, really, because obviously my children came first. So anything that I wanted, and I know some of you will connect with it, we tend to put ourselves and what we'd like in life on the back burner because we put our children first. They're obviously our priority. Hey, if you're just tuning in. And it took me up until a couple of years ago to realise that actually we can be an individual as well as being a mum. It doesn't mean that you're not making your children your priority. It just means you're making yourself a priority too. So yeah, growing up it was a vet. Was it what I really wanted to do? No, I did it. Obviously, I loved animals. I wanted to help them, but it was more in the side of preventing animal cruelty and rescuing them from people that just did not deserve to keep pets, that didn't know how to treat them. So, yeah. So, anybody else got a question? It does not have to be about mental health. Please keep it clean. When I say you can ask anything, just keep it clean. You know, we've Jessica's got standards. Thanks, Paige. So I wanted to address a question that came into the group that I have on Facebook. Some of you may or may not know, and you'll have seen me churning out all this awesome stuff connected to the OCD warrior, and what I'm creating there, helping people do one what? What's he put? What did somebody put? Oh, it's a troll. Oh, bless. Yeah, so what I've been doing online is I decided to know my worth, do what I know I am here for, live my purpose, my values, my message, you name it, and that is to really bring to light the stigma and stereotyping of the disorder known as obsessive compulsive disorder. There is too much of a stigma attached. There are 799,000 people diagnosed with OCD, and that's officially diagnosed in the UK alone. That doesn't include undiagnosed. So I was diagnosed about 7 years ago. It's not been an easy journey. Those of you that have read my book will know and understand that. I got to what's known as remission or recovery, and I thought I can't just sit by and watch other people struggle, watch them going through therapy, and then it finishes and there's just no support afterwards. So that's where I come in, that's where I step in to help people realise just how incredible they are, become really confident, absolute badass warriors in kicking OCD's ass and just realising that this disorder does not define who they are. They can still live life to the fullest and have a disorder at the same time. It does not have to hinder their experience of life at all. So that's what I'm doing. A question came in from the group is how to stay positive when you haven't got to the stage in life that you wanted to be at. How do you stay positive and not feel disheartened, defeated, like you failed, that kind of stuff. My first one would be, and hopefully she'll watch, but I'll post this into the group so she can watch the replay. This hair is really annoying, by the way. Gratitude is the first one. So, you know, reflecting back on the journey so far and appreciating, even though you're not at the stage that you would like to have been at, you can still appreciate how far you've come, how many steps you've taken, the progress, the fact that there's been bumps in the road and they've been able to overcome them, and just being, you know, okay with it, okay, and realise that it really is not really the destination that's important, it's the journey there, it's how you get there. It's the obstacles you overcome that you can appreciate, that you can feel proud of, that actually you've had the capability and ability to work through that, regardless of whether you've got to the stage that you want to be at. Life in general is a journey. It takes loads of wrong turns, U-turns. Sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees. Sometimes you end up in a different place that you didn't ever expect, and that's okay. It's how you work through that. It's how you trust yourself and have confidence in yourself and trust the process, trust the progress, and be grateful for the experiences, even the ones that feel negative, because even though something can feel like a fail or it can feel like a negative, actually it's one step closer to reaching the place that you actually want to be at. So it's not an opportunity of failure, it's an opportunity of growth and an opportunity of learning. You can look back and you think, fuck, that was really hard to work through, but I absolutely did it. I crushed it and I got there. And that's what's the difference between feeling disheartened that you haven't got to a place that you want to be at. It's not, life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And like I say, you have to be prepared for all of the different turns it takes. Life is like one big roadmap, and it often goes in, it reroutes itself, you know. So one day at a time, one step at a time, just being in that present moment, and work on not letting your mind run away with itself and thinking too far in the future. Trust the process of the moment that you were in, and trust that you have all that you need in that moment, and you are the best version of yourself in that moment. So let's have a look at any comments. Hi guys. Oh, send photo nudes private. No thanks, you gotta pay for that shit. I'm joking, by the way. How did you find out I had OCD? It took about 10 months to reach the diagnosis. However, I'd kind of come to that conclusion anyway. So at first I probably self-diagnosed as having psychosis, schizophrenia, which is actually very, very common, a very common fear with somebody living with OCD, particularly because there is the stereotype. That's why I do what I do. The stereotype is people think OCD is about cleaning, is about germs, is about catching HIV, about liking neatness and order and lining things up, and it's really a whole spectrum of things. So it becomes OCD when it latches onto an internal or an external fear, and I'm sure all of you will appreciate a fear can be about absolutely anything. I'm going to share a story tomorrow how I had a crippling fear of storm drains, you know, the rain drains at the side of the road, for years of rain drains. Your fear can literally latch on to anything. When it becomes OCD, the OCD isn't the fear, it's the response to it. So I found out after 10 months of struggling. I spent a few months with my head up my backside, begging people to commit me to a mental health unit, to keep me locked up because I didn't feel safe. I didn't have a clue what was going on. Had no idea it was OCD. I kept taking these quizzes online that kept coming up with psychosis, with schizophrenia, with blackouts and this and that. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening to me? And then I got to a point where I was just like, fuck this shit. This, you know, this cannot be my life. I've got my kids. There's things I want to achieve. I cannot let this thing grab hold and steal my life away from me. So the whole warrior badass attitude that everybody knows me for, I bought books. I bought lots and lots of different books, and each one that I was reading, it was becoming more and more clear that it was OCD. I just needed the official diagnosis so that I could get the therapy. However, when I got the diagnosis and I started CBT therapy, which is the only clinically proven treatment for OCD and anxiety disorders and phobias and things, I'd done that much work, that much self-help. I'd implemented so many helpful strategies at the time that I was kind of signed off. I didn't actually get the therapy in the end. They basically just said you understand it really, really well on therapy level, so you don't need it anymore. What should have happened is they should have prepared me for potential lapses or relapses, because 3 years later it came to bite me on the ass. Yes, it went away. I thought, finally, I'm cured. It's gone. I never have to worry about it again. That was absolutely horrible. Don't want to repeat it. Unfortunately, like I say, it wasn't dealt with, and the underlying root cause of it was not dealt with. You know, so it's the same as a weed. If you want to get rid of getting tongue-tied. If you want to get rid of a weed, you have to pull it up by the root. There's no point in pulling the flower head off, because it's just going to come back. And that's what didn't happen. And it came back bigger than ever, caused a huge relapse. I then had to go back to the start, work on the root cause, rediscover myself, how to work, you know, how to accept this thing, and the right way forward. And I did it. And that's what's led me to creating the OCD Warriors Way, the community that I've created, and excitingly, the amazing membership community that I'm creating that's going to be launching towards Christmas. I cannot wait to start working with some awesome people, and just watch them transform and absolutely kind of take their power back from OCD and start living life and enjoying it again. It is so rewarding. I'm gonna send some waves. So that was the only question that was sent in. If anybody else has a question, it doesn't have to be mental health related, by the way. It can be absolutely anything. Just keep it clean. Don't do what Jesus did in the comments asking for nudes, because you ain't gonna get one. Hi Becky, you look amazing, sweetie. I struggle with OCD too, so I understand very much your situation. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate your comment, and I absolutely hear you on every level with that. Times have been a huge struggle, but I can confidently say it's not a struggle anymore for me. Yes, I have my challenging days. Yes, the OCD does try to sneak up. However, I treat it like an overzealous best friend that's constantly trying to warn me. I can thank it for doing that, and then I can have the control over what response I want to give it, and that is so empowering. That we learn that we have that choice. We get to make that decision. The brain doesn't make that decision for us. We can do that. It's took a long time to get there, but it is so worth it. Is it easy? No. Is it tough? Yes, but it's well worth it. Absolutely well worth it. Hi Martha. How's Rolo? He's downstairs with Ashley. No, I don't know how to share. Does anybody know how to share to a group? These absolutely to my head in. If you ever want to talk to me, I'm always here. I've sent you a friend request, my darling. Hope that's okay. Absolutely fine. Glad to have you. Nice to meet you. And yeah, let's connect. I'm going to take gloves off. I'm really sorry. I know it's not Jessica's trademark gloves. I need to... How do I share this to a group? Because I don't know. Martha. Thank you, Martha. Do you mind... I'm really sorry. Do you mind sharing this into the 6.0 group? Hello, baby. You is beautiful woman. I'm Mexican. I like Mexicans. No. I mean, I don't dislike Mexicans, but... No, thank you. So, any other questions? I know you've just asked if I like Mexicans. I replied. Anybody else got another question? It can be anything you want to ask. Keep it clean, please. If you ask for nudes, you ain't going to get one, so keep dreaming. But anything, if you want to ask a question, have to copy the link, babe, and paste it in the status in the group. Oh, bugger. Cannot do that. I have my laptop here, but then that's very rude. So have a think of some other questions. They can be anything at all. They don't have to be about me. They can be about yourself. You can share something you're super duper proud of. Absolutely. Yay! Thank you, Martha. Mwah. Right, so I don't have to go on my laptop. Look at this, guys. I got a super duper mug today. I deserved it. I was out in the rain shopping for uniform. Didn't get no uniform, but I got an amazing mug. Went down the wrong goal. I'm okay, guys. Hi, Sam. Any other questions? You know, for next time. Not to drink coffee on a live and to share the link in a group, yeah. Absolutely. So, questions. so you can share something about yourselves. What are you, what is something that you've done today that you're super duper proud of? Accomplishments that you're proud of. Have you enforced boundaries? Boundaries is a big thing for me. Should have sent Jimmy. Jimmy was at home with Ivor, so we just took the other three. However, Ashley's back home now with us. So yeah, we took Rory, bless him. We went to the vets. What the cup? I'll get you one for Christmas. They're amazing. I went in the car first time since the car crash. Wow. Now that's huge, Sarah. I saw that. That must have been so frightening. I saw. Wow, but what a way to overcome that fear so quickly as well, because it wasn't actually that long ago, was it? So hats off to you. Hi, Tara. Hats off to you for confronting that fear and getting back in it. They sometimes say, don't they, there's that saying, when you fall off the bike, the best thing to do is to get back in the seat. And you've absolutely crushed it. No pun intended. Crushed that. Like, confidence-wise, and just getting back in that car, in that seat, and you did it. And how do you feel? Because I know that would have been really nerve-wracking. But wow, I am super proud of you for doing that. That takes balls. That takes balls. So how are you feeling? I've got messages coming in. Let's swipe them down. So anybody else thinking of some questions they would like to ask, they can ask anything. Just keep it clean. As I say, if you're asking for nudes, you ain't gonna get them. So dream on. Hi, Savannah. What's positive about OCD? I think the positive thing for me has been kind of appreciating that the brain does try to keep us safe, and it's kind of doing what it's supposed to be doing by alerting us to that. So we can actually thank our brain for doing that, for keeping us safe, to alerting us to find the solution or whatnot. I think it does get a bit overexcited, but also the positive is that it's given me an opportunity to really just experience everything without attaching any kind of meaning to it at all. And sitting with emotions, not labeling them, just kind of having the experience of emotions and not thinking this is good, this is bad, I shouldn't be feeling this, I should be feeling that. I can just, by having it, the tools that I've been able to put in place and the things that I've been able to learn about myself have really been life-changing. Back before the relapse, I really did not know what purpose I had. I felt very, very insignificant in the world. I felt like I was just a mum. You took the children out of the equation and there was nothing. And it kind of led to a little bit of an identity crisis. I knew there was the warrior spirit in there, because there had to have been from the traumas that I've come through growing up and early adult life. But I really did feel very lost. And the positive thing that OCD's brought me is discovering that person, that I can be an individual and a mum, I can be an individual and be a wife, that I don't have to be anything more than myself. And those are the positive things. It's enabled me to experience life without judgment. So yes, do I get pissed off? Do I get snappy, irritable, all that kind of stuff? Yeah. But it's given a bigger opportunity for reflecting and insight into that, kind of figuring out why those are there, knowing that emotions bring a message, so that they're telling us something. I know, Mav, you'll understand that. But really the positive thing is it just allowed me to experience life in every way, shape and form, live by my values, what's important to me, and just let go and cut out the bullshit that just doesn't contribute to that. Has it cost friendships? Yes. Has it cost bonds with people? Yes. But I guess I can be appreciative of the time that I had with certain friends that come to an end. You know, those bonds that had to end. I can be appreciative for the time that I had with those, and just know that actually my life is just going in a different direction. I don't have to feel bad. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Really long-winded though. Anybody else got another question? Does not have to be mental health or OCD related. It can be, this is just a live for you to get to know me. I'm doing it in cosplay because I love to do cosplay. Most of the time, the reason I do it, I get to channel all sides of my personality. So Jessica is obviously very confident, very sassy, cheeky, sultry. I have those parts of me too, and depending on what kind of day I'm having, depends which side of me and what side of my personality comes out and what you're going to get. So today was Jessica Rabbit because I'm feeling Jessica Rabbit today. It's going to be so hard. Oh, hang on, Sarah. Hang on. Where's it gone? I think I have a bit of anxiety as I shake and struggle to breathe when in it. You will. I think that is only to be expected, because you're kind of being back in a situation that you was in. Your brain, your mind and your brain, your body is going to remember. It's going to bring that back, and how scared you felt. But and things that you can put in place when you do that, and the more that you do it, and your brain and your mind learns that actually you're making that choice to get in, you are safe in making that choice, and it's safe to travel, and it's okay to take that risk, because your brain is obviously going to be telling you this isn't safe, look what happened last time, kind of thing. So you would think the solution to that is to avoid that thing. It's actually to do the opposite. So you got to think, a Chinese finger snap, where you put your fingers in, most people will pull apart to get the fingers out. Actually, it's not. You've got to push them together to get it out. So it's not always the obvious. It's going to take time. Give yourself some grace and some patience with it, and keep doing it, keep getting in the car, and over time that anxiety will start to lessen, that fear will start to reduce, and it will start to become much easier. There are things that you can do. I will inbox you some afterwards, some tools and a couple of strategies that you can use whilst you're in the car. I do understand it. Travelling used to be very, very difficult. Even though it's not in the same context where I would have to sit on my hands the entire way there, or wherever it was that I was travelling to, until the car stopped. So there were certain strategies and things that I used to do to help me manage when I was travelling in cars or on trains and things, because I'm pretty sure if my nails were sharp enough to leave gouge marks in train chairs, there's a lot of trains out there that will have my claw marks across them. So I will inbox you after this privately and share a couple of things that you can start implementing straight away that can really help with to reduce the anxiety and panic. So Heather says, it's going to be so hard, I can't even imagine. I've been in a few crashes but nothing serious. It's nerve-wracking and it gets easier with time, but you need to allow yourself the time you need. Exactly. So don't rush yourself through. Take it at your own pace, and you know, give yourself some grace. If there's a time where you don't feel like, I know it's too overwhelming, it's fine, it's okay. Allow yourself that. Just think it's a work in progress. So I hope that helped, Sarah, but I'll definitely inbox you afterwards and share a couple of things with you that you can start doing to kind of help manage that. Any other questions while Jessica's on? This wig is so annoying. you know, they look really good, but they get really naughty and they get very warm, especially when you have a ring light over there beaming on you. Hi, Kim. Whoops. Hi, Natalie. So any other questions, anyone that you want to know? Does not have to be mental health. If you want to ask for some advice, if I'm able to answer it, I will. If not, I can always inbox you and direct you to somebody. Can you say something about triggers? In what respect? Triggers. Like my OCD triggers? Thanks, Becky. I am learning so much from you. Thank you, Adam. In what respect, Marva? So triggers to fear. So triggers, if I hope I'm getting this one in the context of what you was asking the question. So triggers, it's my belief they're connected to internal fears or external fears, and they're usually what triggers my OCD. Okay. So in general, triggers are connected to a internal or external fear, object or situation. Most of the time, triggers are something that's being carried through from childhood or a traumatic experience, because obviously that didn't feel good. Your brain learns that through memory, and that's then stored in its kind of little fear bank, if you like. So triggers for my OCD, I say my OCD, I don't own it. It's an experience. I just wanted to point that out, by the way. A lot of people say my OCD this, my depression that, my anxiety this. It's like it's something that's owned, and it's not. It's an experience. And I think sometimes owning it as part of ourselves, it becomes very, very difficult to detach away from that and work towards healthier management. So triggers for me, I experienced something that typically in the OCD community labelled as harm OCD. So sometimes triggers can be sharp objects, it can be roads, fast cars, definitely around the house. It's generally anything sharp that used to be left out, so not left out laying around because obviously I have children, but if like say knives, scissors were not put away, I wouldn't be able to cope. That would trigger off what's known as intrusive thoughts. So the intrusive thoughts are literally probabilities, so it's almost like a risk assessment. So the brain will see the object of fear, i.e. the trigger, and then it will throw up all these probabilities, all these illusions of what could potentially happen. The brain doesn't like it, doesn't like any kind of 1% risk, so it then puts you into safety seeking mode or stress mode, where the amount of cortisol and adrenaline and fight or flight that's running through your body at that point, it subdues your ability to be able to rationalize and actually realize, yeah, the likelihood of that happening is just not going to happen, because all we're reacting to is fear. So sharp objects, pregnancy, funnily enough, and being around babies, even though I've had 2 babies since being diagnosed with OCD, but being around the younger kiddies, and it's that the whole vulnerability of young children and the responsibility on me to keep them safe and to protect them and to be what they need. So that used to be really, really triggering for me, because what if I couldn't? What if I couldn't keep them safe? What if I wasn't safe? And it's all this what ifing. So anything connected to that fear can be a trigger. Stress can trigger them. If you're feeling stressed, can start triggering intrusive thoughts. Conflict with family, with friends can trigger. Tiredness, if you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, and if you are not taking good care of yourself and practicing at least the bare minimum self-care, so getting dressed, showering, bathing, those are basic human needs of self-care. So when we're not doing that, when we're not making ourselves a priority, all of those will kind of, they're like conduits for the intrusive thoughts to keep popping up. But usually it's situational or down to object. So another one, this one's a really tough one to actually bring up, but it's got to be done. So a couple of years ago, the OCD kind of changed themes, which it can. The content of the thoughts can swap and change to what it likes to focus on. Typically, intrusive thoughts do really focus around the biggest fears we have, but it does shift. And unfortunately, it shifted to what I believed to have been, that I believed I was suicidal. And that's really tough it was tough to talk about, but I'm confident in myself to know the difference. So the triggers for that were seeing articles online, on social media, connected to either recent passings of people due to suicide, people posting up on their news feeds, that they were not coping, that they were going to cause harm to themselves, seeing the devastation it was bringing. And it got to a point, because I felt like I was insignificant in life and having a bit of an identity crisis at the time, I was like, what if I'm like one of those people? Because I feel really down, I feel really low, I just don't know what's going to happen in life, I don't know where I'm going. My kids are going to grow up and I'm going to get to a place where I'm like, I'm not needed anymore, because I haven't done anything with my life. I've done nothing fulfilling for myself aside from having my children. Let me just point that out. Having my children is one of the greatest achievements for me. But I was left thinking, what's going to happen to me when the kids don't need me anymore, when they move out, and they don't need me to take care of them. I've got nothing to show for my life. I've done nothing with it. So add that to all the articles I was seeing, to researching depression, to researching the kind of characteristics and traits and behaviours of somebody that is suicidal. It latched on to that. I had a huge fear. It latched on. I had the passive. Let me just say something. Everybody at some point in their life will have a passive suicidal thought. That is usually when they feel they can't cope with a situation, they doubt their capabilities of coping, or they are just too stressed and they think they can't handle something, or they can't see a way through it. That's when passive suicidal thoughts can come in. It does not mean somebody wants to or has the intention of. However, somebody that's kind of highly attuned to their thoughts like that and reacts to them, you can kind of see why the OCD latched onto that, why I ended up researching, why I was trying to figure out if I was or I wasn't, because I didn't like the risk. It was very quickly recognised that it was OCD at play, because compulsive behaviours were recognised. I threw out all the medications in the house, down to heartburn tablets and Rennies and stuff, the stuff that are pretty harmless. I could not stand anything in the house. I was hiding stuff, so I didn't have to see it, so it didn't trigger off any intrusive thoughts, didn't kind of confirm anything. I became very, very scared. And unfortunately, the experience that I received from professionals that were supposed to care, that were meant to, understand and help, really didn't. They actually made it worse. So it was a battle back from that, a huge battle back. But it can absolutely be anything that triggers off intrusive thoughts. And sometimes we don't even know what it is that triggers them off. It's often rooted so deep in either an experience in childhood and feeling responsible for something that somebody else did that actually wasn't your fault, that maybe, I'm talking from harm OCD manifestation with this, because it is a feeling of being responsible for keeping everybody safe or keeping someone safe. So that is connected to times in my childhood where something's happened to somebody I care about, that I love, and I wasn't able to do anything to prevent it, or I was blamed for something that wasn't my fault. You know, look what you made me do. Unfortunately, there was a lot of physical abuse when I was younger, and some of the adults around me just would not take responsibility. They would have rather shifted that onto a child. So that's where that comes from. Going through that level of abuse as a young child, it sets up that fear that if this is what humans and adults do to people that they say they love, people that they're there to protect, then that must mean everybody is capable of doing that at the drop of a hat. One minute, I love you and I care about you, the next, causing them pain, and the next, again, well, look what you made me do, but I love you. You can see where that would really mess a child up. So it's kind of understandable why my own OCD experience focused and centered around that. Hi guys, if you are just tuning in. Matthew says, I always value life important, Bex. Who's sending me angry faces? So cute. That's rude. I always value life important, Bex. My friends, including you now, and family mean everything to me. Just have struggles when talking to girls on nights out. Having mild autism as well as OCD, I don't know what to do to be more confident. Put yourself out there. Don't let the fear talk you out of things, because it's an illusion. Don't let it talk you out of things. You're the one in the driving seat, not fear. But if you are in the UK, Matthew, and you haven't looked into OCD Action, go onto the website. They have phone and Skype groups available for you to, so basically I facilitate for one of them. It's a group phone call where you can get support, you can listen, you can get support from other people that, you know, there's a couple of people in there that I know also have autism and an OCD diagnosis, so that may be really helpful. I do know they actually have, they do take calls from outside of the UK, so it may be worth looking into. They're very, very beneficial. Having you saved me from suicidal thoughts. You saved me without even knowing it, just being there for me. I didn't save you, babe, you saved yourself. I said you saved yourself. But thank you. Never ever doubt your power, Missy. Hi, Holly. Look, lovely hun, hope you're doing well. I am, absolutely, you too. So any other questions? I know that went really deep and heavy then, didn't it? I'm not anxious, by the way. This wig is so itchy. You're going to laugh now, because when I come off live, I'm going to go downstairs, I'm going to take it off, and I'm literally just going to rake my scalp, because they get really, really itchy and very, very warm. They look nice. But there's the downside. Look, I feel like I've got nits. So, any other questions? Let's see. Has anybody got a really... I know, it's so bad, isn't it? I look so unhygienic. I've got nits. Yeah, this is why I don't wear them out in public. Because I'm literally... People think I've got fleas or something. Sat there itching. But yeah, or maybe Roald Dahl witches, you know, where they've got wigs on and masks on and stuff, and they take them off and they're itching and they've got square feet. I love that film. I might have to watch it. Love you too, babe. So let's have a light-hearted question. Let's have a fun question. Has anybody got anything they want to ask, anything they want to share, something funny, a joke, absolutely anything? I am all yours on this live. What time? We're on 9:20. So we've been on nearly an hour. Alright, this is really annoying, sorry. So, another question. Who else can we invite in? Who else? Who haven't we invited? Who hasn't asked a question? Heather, I'm going to pick on you in a minute. You can ask a question. Let's see. Who else? Let's get some more people in. So think of some questions, guys. Nope. I've invited some of you that have already been on. Sorry if you're getting a notification. Well, not sorry. Right, we've invited some more people. Yeah, mine gets well itchy and hot. It really does under that ring light, doesn't it? So warm. So, question. Is Heather still on? Heather, you need to ask a question. Ask me anything. Just don't ask for nudes because you won't get one. I mean, I don't... Do guys actually think that works? What I mean, I'm very, very interested in the success rate of that. You know, how often a guy actually gets nudes by saying that to a woman on a live or on somebody's profile picture. Is the return? What's the return rate? Thank you for your advice, Bex. I think we're going to be really good friends. And I've got a question. Which movie or book character do you relate to? Probably Alice in Wonderland. But then, I don't know, I relate to so many different characters simply because there are lots of dimensions to somebody's personality, and any given day a different side of my personality can be at the forefront. You know, there's so many qualities and quirks and traits that are connected to everybody that makes up who they are and their uniqueness and differentness that sets them apart from somebody else. So it depends. Some days I relate to Alice in Wonderland. There's days I relate to Jessica Rabbit, hence why I'm dressed as Jessica Rabbit tonight. There are times where I can relate to Wonder Woman or a total badass, you know, to Celine in Underworld. You know, it can all depend. Depends on the day, depends on the environment, the situation, the experience that I'm having. Will depend on who I can relate to the most. So, but I would definitely say Alice in Wonderland is probably one of the main ones. Especially the like kind of curiosity side, and I have to quote the amazing Chris Richards in that, because he was the one that gave me instead of fearing what the future may hold, be curious about it. That will always forever stay with me. Going for a shower, babe. Will join back when I'm out if you're still on. Awesome, babe. So, anybody else got a question? Or what book character do you guys relate to? What character? I'm interested. Who do you relate to? And I can hear one of the children are still up. Rory is in bed for the first time ever, and he's gone straight to sleep. I think it's a day out shopping has really tired him out, which is a bonus. So, which character or movie or book character do you relate to? So I'm asking you guys the most. Or is there a couple? Are you like me where you relate to lots of different characters so you just can't pick one? What is the frontrunner character that you relate to the most? That you can see yourself in? That reminds you of you? I can hear Ivor downstairs. He should be sleeping. And we're going back to itching again. I'm literally going to have to put Roald Dahl the Witches movie on when I go downstairs after this live, because it's like itching my scalpers. I relate to Christian Grey in my dreams. Only kidding. I relate to Harry Potter because I look like him by the sky. Wow! I love Harry Potter. Harry Potter is awesome. Me and my son have such a shared affinity for Harry Potter. We both wish we could go to Hogwarts and that there was actually a place like that, because that would just be insane. But Christian Grey, I actually like Christian Grey. I've got all the books. Not for the smut, guys. However, you know, that was interesting. I actually like to understand the workings behind it all. So yeah, depending on what part of Christian Grey you're relating to, but in your dreams, that's cool. Martha says Bette Midler, what an epic lady. We was actually talking about Bette Midler yesterday. We have plans for Halloween with the children, Hocus Pocus. I think that I think for particularly kind of my age range, Hocus Pocus is associated with Bette Midler. Not saying you're a witch, Martha, but no, she is an amazing actress, and she's a singer as well, isn't she? She's just phenomenal, absolutely. But then, so are you, Martha. Absolutely phenomenal. So, wow, Bette Midler, what a legend. You picked good. But yeah, cool. Anybody else want to share which book character or movie character they relate to? She said, F it if they can't. Who said F it if they can't take a joke? Who? Bet did if they can't take a joke. I love that. That is so in line as well with what I would say. If somebody can't take a joke, that's on them, not on me. I honestly don't try to purposely insult anybody. However, if they feel insulted from anything I say, absolutely. So Bette Midler said it, and she's absolutely right. You know, if I go in without the intention of insulting someone, whose responsibility is that if they feel insulted or upset at what I've said? You know, obviously I don't go out of my way to upset people, but if you make a joke, it's a joke. It's not directly an attack against anybody. It's not personal. And it's much more to do with how that joke's received rather than how it was delivered. And that, you know, how somebody takes a joke is not up to me. As tough as that sounds, it's up to somebody else to work through that. But yeah, absolutely. And that, again, that's been something I've had to work through. I used to get so offended at everything. I used to get offended at trolls. For those of you that have only recently connected, I did network marketing with a company called Unique for 3 years. My skill level was shit beforehand. I mean, it's not amazing now, but it's a lot better than it used to be. And I used to get trolls and people leaving comments on my selfies, on my makeup lives, you know, calling me all kinds of different things. And I used to really let it get to me to a point where I would never go live again. I would stop wearing makeup at all. I would not go live without makeup on, would not take selfies without it on because of those judgments. And actually, the things that they were saying was more to do with their perception rather than it being truth. And that took a lot. So I really connect with what Bette Midler said and what you've shared as well, Marva. It takes a lot to really get to a place where somebody's response to you or something you said is to do with them and nothing to do with you. I always feel like that's like, it's got nothing to do with you. It's the delivery, isn't it? It's you know, if you're saying to somebody it's got nothing to do with you, you know, it's that tone. Whereas if you said to somebody, their response, hi sis, their response really has nothing to do with you, but to do with them. I'm going to go now, Bex. It's been really nice talking to you. I hope we can talk more in private. You take care, my darling. Stay safe. Thank you very much, Matthew, and you too. It's been amazing, and I look forward to chatting to you some more. Stay awesome. Listening to them on Fortnite. This is what the household get up to on an evening. It's almost like when the kids go to bed, the adults come out to play. So cosplay comes out, TikTok comes out, and he goes to Fortnite. Typical household. So has anybody got anything else? I think I'm going to give it another 5 minutes and then I'm going to jump off. And then I may post the story about why rain drains gave me so much fear for so long. It's a really interesting story that I want to share with you, and it definitely picks up on the fact that fear can manifest in an infinite amount of ways over the most random things. What one person finds a fear and what another person finds absolutely ridiculous really doesn't matter. Fear is fear. The object of fear may be irrational. The fear felt is very, very real. So that's why comments, especially for people in the OCD communities, or sometimes it's referred to OCDers, is when they're told they're being silly, or, you know, that's really daft, that's not going to happen kind of thing. It really does not validate that fear that they're feeling, that experience that they're having, and it feels very ignored. So if one piece of kind of guidance, advice if you like, take it or leave it before I come off live, is, you know, somebody, a friend, a family member, a colleague has a fear about something that you maybe think shouldn't really be a fear, it doesn't matter. If you, let's say clowns for instance, a lot of people have a fear about clowns. But if you don't find clowns particularly scary, that's great. But to your friend, your colleague, somebody in your family has a real big fear of clowns, like serious panic attack stuff, just because you find clowns silly doesn't mean that they do. That fear is crippling to them, and the best way to support them is not by saying, oh, they're just clowns, you know, they're not threatening, they're funny, they're silly, you know, hear them, you know, let them talk, give them that space, validate that, and even though it's something that may feel silly to you, is not silly to them, and absolutely ignorance is a choice. You can choose to be very ignorant and not look into what OCD is, but you have an option to educate yourself. So I share stuff for everybody to read, not just for the OCD community, so that there's a better understanding out there, so that people in the OCD world don't feel like they're invisible. They are still human beings. Just because they struggle with something that other people find really ridiculous doesn't make them any less deserving of feeling validated, feeling seen. So the best thing you can do, even if in the past there's been a comment made where, oh, it's just a little bit OCD, or whether somebody's picked up a new bottle of disinfectant fragrance, or, you know, the Flora thing, or Miss Hinch, the Miss Hinch group, you know, my OCD at that's going crackers, you know, it's being ignorant without realising you're being ignorant. But there is an opportunity there. I used to get pissed off, like massively pissed off with people that used to say, that's just set my OCD off so bad. I can't stand mess. I love the smell of bleach. You know, that's my OCD. I used to get really pissed off, or cleaning companies that used to use OCD as their abbreviation, i.e. obsessive compulsive cleaners. I used to get pissed off with cups and t-shirts that said, Des, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. This is not towards you, but it's just stuff I've seen in the past. Where you see t-shirts and mugs and things that says obsessive cat disorder or obsessive Christmas disorder, when it's used as something fun, to describe an everyday thing that you enjoy. Those things are fun things, they're positive things. OCD is not. It's not. It doesn't feel positive, and absolutely people feel offended by it. However, I don't get pissed off with it anymore, because people don't know what they don't know. So if they're not given an opportunity to learn, that ignorance is going to remain, because there isn't enough knowledge, there isn't enough education, there isn't enough people within the OCD communities that want to speak out loud and proud about their diagnosis, and it still creates that taboo about it. And often that's to do with shame about the thoughts that they're having because they don't think they're normal. And again, the ignorance plays a part in that, because intrusive thoughts, everybody's had them at some point. I am going to post some statistics up tomorrow for everybody to take a look at, and these statistics are based on people that do not have any mental health diagnosis. They have not experienced anxiety or high levels of anxiety, because anxiety is supposed to be there. It's a normal functioning of the brain. I'm not going to get technical with that, but anxiety is meant to be there. But these statistics and research that was done is based on people that don't have clinical anxiety. They haven't ever experienced depression or OCD or anything like that. Just everyday people, even though everybody's an everyday person, but somebody who hasn't struggled emotionally or with their mental health. And it's very, very interesting, really interesting to see just how many people have had an intrusive thought that is pretty much the same as what some people within the OCD communities have. Because they manifest in lots of different ways. There is harm OCD, there's relationship OCD, there is just right, there's perfectionism is not one of them. That actually falls under obsessive compulsive personality disorder. It's slightly different, but it's a different diagnosis. And actually, funnily enough, people with obsessive compulsive personality disorder actually do better in therapy than somebody with OCD, because naturally it's the perfectionism in them. They want to get the therapy right, so they engage with it. Most of the time they engage with it more. What other one is there? Obviously, there's harm OCD. There is religious OCD. There's sexual OCD. There's homophobic OCD, paedophilia OCD, which is probably one of the most debilitating manifestations there is. There's perinatal, there is scrupulosity or religious. It can take the form of anything and still be OCD, because it's to do with the internal or external fears that are deep on the inside. So if there's a fear, it will latch if we respond, and that's the confusion with people that are trying to reach recovery and remission. They're doing the thing that creates OCD by giving importance to the bullshit that's going off and thrown up by the brain. The minute you give importance to it, you feel like you're in danger, you feel like you've got to fix it, you feel like you've got to get a solution to it to get rid of this thing because it just doesn't feel good. And it's actually the opposite that we need to be doing. So by playing into it, attaching a story to it, attaching a meaning, attaching importance to it, you end up responding with compulsive behaviours. That's where compulsions come in. So actually, by the time we start doing compulsions, the brain learns that that's what we're supposed to do every time an intrusive thought pops up. And because we gave it importance, the brain will keep throwing that stuff up, because we resist letting it just be there without attaching anything to it. A thought is a thought. We have over 70,000 of them a day. We just don't notice all of them. The ones that make it into our awareness are the ones that are in line with our values, experiences, situation, object, environment. So the brain will throw up what we feel is important, or what it thinks is important to us, so it will throw it out. The rest of them stay in the subconscious. So, and that top and bottom is what it is. Obviously, it's a lot more complex to each individual, to the root cause of those, the responses, working through and recognising compulsions. So yeah, there's a lot more to it. It's a lot more complex. And if anybody on the replay, if you are watching on the replay, has a diagnosis or suspects they have OCD, you can drop me a message anytime and connect with me. I do have a Facebook group for the OCD community. I also have a Discord channel, so absolutely drop me a message. We can chat some more. Unfortunately, I am not a therapist or a psychiatrist, so I cannot confirm a diagnosis. I cannot disprove a diagnosis, and I cannot diagnose anybody. However, I can give my insights with my experience, using my own experiences and expertise on that to help guide you into seeking some further support so that you can get a diagnosis in place and you can start your journey to recovery. So I stayed on a lot longer than 5 minutes waffling on. So it's 9:40. So I'm going to come off now. Thank you everybody that tuned in. Thank you everybody who shared it, who asked a question. I hope from this live that you have got a little bit more of an understanding of what OCD is, that you have got to learn a little bit about me that you wouldn't have known. Obviously, that I like cosplay. You know, I do not walk around in public like this. Maybe I should. That's quite fun, quite liberating. So yeah, I've got to know a couple of you guys as well, connected with you, which is always amazing. And I think I'm going to start doing this once a week. So if anybody has any suggestions of what character you would like me to be in next Friday, I'm going to start doing these once every Friday evening. So if there's a particular character you would like to see, drop in the comments. Again, if there's anything that's been helpful for you, what you've understood, have you had now that makes sense in the comments. If you're somebody that is living with OCD and you are literally watching but not commenting, and you know something I've said has been really helpful, again, my inbox is there. Please come and connect with me. I don't bite. And I will look forward to next Friday. Stay awesome, everybody. Bye.